Hey guys, what's going on? What's going on? Just waiting for my buddy here. How we doing? Hope you guys have anybody who's in here who has not seen Vision and doesn't want spoilers. That is literally what we're talking about. So if there's anybody in here who is not interested in hearing spoilers for the 2 episodes of WandaVision that just came on today, I would probably suggest that you leave.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. You're sideways.
I sure am.
You sure are. Hang on, I gotta put another level up here. I have to makeshift this fucking setup here because when it goes split screen like this, I can never prepare for it, right?
Yeah, totally. It's impossible.
So how's it going?
Good, you?
Yeah, it's going good, man. Going good. Just
big a shit show out there as it is in Ontario?
No, it's bad, but it's not what you guys have. You guys are out of control. You guys are almost at American levels.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. It's not
what you want.
No, it's not. It's scary because it's I have so many friends and family still there, right? So it's definitely definitely scary to think about. A little close to home, even though it's not.
Yeah, man, definitely.
So I just kind of wanted to give a kind of brief kind of intro. So this is we're double using this, right? So it's I'm using it on my Instagram as a live, but you're kind of using it as we're kind of like a trial version, video for what you're doing, right? So I don't know if you want to maybe explain kind of what you're kind of doing. That way you can kind of put it all out there. And then also just say, so everybody knows, me and Ryan go way fucking back. We're not internet friends. We're friends. That, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of internet friends that are good friends. But
totally.
Me and Ryan, we worked together, we went to college together, and we worked more together.
Yeah, we've known each other for 20 years, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Ryan actually drove out to BC with me when I moved out here. So I moved to British Columbia from Ontario. I drove, and Ryan drove with me for the travel, and then stayed for a week, and then came home. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It was a pretty fun.
Favorite trip ever.
That was a good trip. Lots of cigar smoking and
Sugarloaf Road.
Oh, Sugarloaf Road. Imagine somebody in here was like, "Hey, I live on Sugarloaf Road.
I run the hotel on Sugarloaf."
It's funny because I was looking through old pictures the other day, and I came across the comment card that we filled out at Sugarloaf Hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so funny, man.
Good time. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm doing a trial run of a podcast. Basically, I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time, and it's just really hard to get people to join and actually want to do it on a regular basis. And so finally, during quarantine and everything like that, I was kind of just decided I can't see anybody anyways. So everything's going to be over Zoom or video chat anyway. So I might as well just, grab friends that want to chat about, nerdy things, whether it be this now or, gaming or movies or whatever. I have a lot of friends that want to chat nerdy stuff. So I might as well pick their minds and turn it into somewhat of a podcast. So, yeah.
Nice. So is the plan just going to be as you can, or do you kind of have a plan to do
I want to try to do at least one a week.
Yeah.
But, if I can do more, I'm still working full-time job on top of this, right? So
totally.
It's going to be as kind of time permits, but it's also something that I want to try to stay regular at and try to have an episode, probably every Saturday at least.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, I have a YouTube channel, and you can follow me there. It's Moose Milk. That's what I'm going to call the podcast. And it's weird, but it's kind of, I don't know, I thought it was kind of Canadian and kind of strange. And so I went with it.
I see a bunch of my friends. I saw my friend Hostel's here. That's D, and my buddy John's here too. I don't know who else is here, but
I think my sister did too.
Oh, nice. It's always funny when you see, and it's probably even weirder too because a lot of people don't know that I do this too, right? So it's
oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's Yeah, it's funny.
For sure.
So I guess we should probably just dive right into WandaVision because
I mean,
we should.
Do you want to do this like a brief overview without spoilers first, and then we can jump into spoilers?
Yeah, for sure. So we can keep it kind of spoiler free. I'm hoping that anybody that's here, my friend just says moose milk makes me think of Northern Exposure. That's great. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah. Okay, you want to do a non-spoiler, I guess, synopsis of what? I mean, I don't even know how. What do you like? How? What do you say?
Well, I'll just say that I liked it. I liked it a lot. And
oh wow, really? I didn't think that you were gonna. I thought we were gonna have a different conversation here.
No, I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's exactly what I wanted out of it. It's something different and weird and not like anything else in the MCU right now, which I think they need because I think everything was starting to feel very samey.
Yeah.
And to have a different take and just be completely out of left field, I think that's a smart way to go.
Yeah. I think I mean, I know it's not what they originally intended, but I definitely think that it's a weird starting point to come back into.
Sure.
So I gotta say, like when I watched it yesterday, I watched it right when it came out at midnight.
Yep.
The first episode, I was kind of like, oh, this is like pretty weird, like pretty different.
Yeah.
And then like I watched the second episode and I was like, I don't know. It just didn't really connect for me. I don't know.
My very first, like I took notes kind of during the episode just to like things that stood out to me. And the very first thing I wrote was, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. Like it's totally bizarre. It doesn't really fit the MCU in any way.
It doesn't.
And that's why I like it.
But it's weird to me because like I watched it again before like shortly before I kind of jumped on here. Kate wanted to watch it. One of her friends was like, "You should watch it. You'll probably like it, whatever." Right? So she's like, she wanted to just wait until it was done. Right? We basically do that with Disney Plus shows. She waits till it's like either halfway or pretty close to the end.
And I wish they would do that.
You wish they
release all the episodes at once.
Well, I think in this circumstance, this show would benefit from having everything at once. To be honest, I know I get why everyone likes the binge, but I won't lie. Like, the problem is like if I got Mandalorian all at once, I would love it for 2 weeks, and then I've kind of ridden the train. It's not to say I don't like it, but it's just like, but like I love that like stretched out. It's like I start in November and I finish at Christmas, and I get to like stretch that ride out for like a long time, right? And it gives me something to look forward to every week. So, but what I kind of found with WandaVision was it's like I was just like, you either need to speed this shit up or you need to give me more now. Like you can't, like it's just, I found it so slow. Like I found it really slow.
So I will say, like each method of delivery has its benefits, right? Like releasing an episode every week obviously extends the time that it's on the air, so there's not as big a break in between seasons, which I like because there's a lot of shows that come out, I watch it all in a day or two,
and that's
and
it.
Then a year later, the next season comes out, and I go, I have no idea what happened in that first season.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
My memory is shot. I do not remember anything that happened, so I have to rewatch it anyways, right?
Yeah.
So, to me, I like the aspect in that way, but I'm the type of person where I hate waiting. I detest waiting for things, and a week between episodes, I'm like, just give me it all at once, right?
Yeah.
So I think each has its positives and negatives, but I think you're right in regards to this show. I think it would have worked better if we got all 9 at once.
Yeah.
Because we've been waiting so long for new MCU stuff anyway.
Yes, I agree.
That just give us a boatload of it and then have Falcon and Winter Soldier like
in
sooner.
March or whatever. I think I think it's supposed to come. But even if we got everything, if we got all of this now and then we had to wait basically 2 months,
right,
to get like the next one, I wouldn't think that would be that bad because you got to think with Disney Plus, we've been waiting a year pretty much every time, right? Like the only thing we've been waiting for on Disney Plus is Mandalorian, so it's like, you know what I mean? But
and I think their whole idea was that they want MCU stuff almost every week of the year.
Yes, I think so
like,
too.
We are basically getting either a new episode on Disney Plus of one of their shows, or we're getting a movie basically every week of this year.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
It is. It's great. It's funny because like for the collecting side of it, like I'm really getting out of the movie stuff. And I think a lot of it's just because it's not really present right now, right? So it's not really fresh on my mind and stuff, and I'm just losing interest, I guess, right? And but it's like I'm excited for stuff. When I see how much stuff is coming, I get super excited, right? But I'm and I know I've said this to you a million times, like I'm a firm believer that they're going to give us so much content that it's not going to be possible that they're all going to be home runs. So like to me, I'm accepting of the fact that there's going to be stuff I don't like. I'm surprised that this was one of the things that I didn't. But I do have to say that when I watched it again, it kind of made me appreciate it a little bit more. I caught things that I didn't catch yesterday, and like there's a couple little things where like I thought it was like extremely well done, like, and it's just like little tonal shifts and stuff like that, right, where you're just like that maybe it's not so unfamiliar, you know what I mean, like,
right. And yeah. I want to dive into that in our spoiler talk, because like I think we're both going to point out some things that I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to get interesting, but I think it's going to take a few episodes. Like I think they're setting everything up in these first two,
yeah,
and then I think by episode 5 and episode 6 the show's going to be a very different beast.
Yeah, I am hoping so, because I am hoping so. But I did like it better tonight. I liked it better on round 2. So, and I did find a couple of things. There was few little things that kind of jumped out at me, and yeah, it's fun to like kind of look for all the little Easter eggs and the little things that are kind of coming, or just little nods to things in the past, right? So
yeah. Do you want to dive into spoilers?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Spoiler time. Okay, so now we're talking spoilers.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched it, turn it off and come back tomorrow once you catch up.
That's right. What he said.
So clearly, right from the get-go, like the first thing I thought, I was like, okay, this is definitely like some sort of Matrix-like simulation going on to keep Wanda at least like pleasant. Like my assumption, and I don't obviously know anything, but I look at it as Wanda's off her rocker after Vision's death in Endgame, and to keep her power suppressed and to keep her like cool, somebody put her into some kind of simulation where Vision's alive.
That's a cool. I hadn't really thought of that. My kind of thought was that maybe she is doing it to herself. Like, I'm wondering if maybe she's doing it as a way to kind of like escape, like, the reality of him not being there. Like, it's kind of her only way of having him in her life. So it's like she creates this world in her head. But some of that doesn't really add up for me, because it's like, isn't she like young? So it's like, why would she have attachment to like a 70s style like TV 60s. Show or whatever? Yeah. Like, it's weird, right? Like, it doesn't really make sense.
I wrote that too. I was like, she's probably our age, maybe younger. Like, I'm guessing like early 30s. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, why would she have an attachment to like Bewitched in 1965 or whatever the hell it is, right? Like,
yeah,
it didn't really make sense in that way, where I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe what are they from? Like Russia or I don't really know. Like, what did they set up in
Sokovia? So it's yeah, but it's supposed to be a European country, so
right. So like maybe that's all they got on their TVs, like growing up or something. Like American television was like old reruns of something like that, and like she had like a fondness for this.
It's like how The Nanny's popular in Australia,
right? Like really weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like maybe that's where it's coming from, but I took it more as she's held against her will, because her power is so intense, and strong, like that they can't control her, and she'll like murder people if she's released out of this like thing, right? So
totally.
And I just thought that maybe too, because every time it kind of seemed like she didn't agree with what's going on during the episode, it kind of like breaks the simulation almost, where it's like
it goes Marvel, like it goes it goes back to like MCU style shooting. Did you notice that?
Right.
Like, there's like I noticed I didn't really notice it as much yesterday, but I definitely noticed it tonight. And there was like the part where the guy, Mr. Hart, his boss or whatever, is eating at the dinner table with him and starts choking, and all of a sudden it's like it's really happening. Like the wife is still like in character, and then Wanda is like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, he's dying, you gotta help him, right?
Right. And then, like, the wife just kept repeating herself.
Yeah.
She didn't have anything to do or say, or, like, she didn't run across the table and help him. It was like she was glitching out in part of the simulation where she couldn't react.
But even when he got it out of his throat, he literally just gets up and he's like, "Well, I guess it's time to go." And it's just like it's like a simulation again, right? It's like super weird.
And like when they get back to the house in that second episode, and they're talking in the living room, and then all of a sudden they go outside, and there's that bee dude that just walks out of the sewer.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, nope. And then the time rewinds, like she's controlling it, and it goes back, and then all of a sudden she's pregnant.
Right.
It's like it's clear that she has some kind of control of the simulation, or I don't know. It's weird. Something's going on where either she's controlling it or they're following her cues within the simulation to make her happy. So like something that makes her upset. They roll back.
It doesn't make it any easier that like her powers aren't really well defined within the MCU, right? Like like when you look at what she does, she like shoots like pink smoke out of her hands, but like apparently she like alters realities and stuff too, right? So it's like it should be hopefully be interesting to get an answer on what exactly she does.
Yeah, and during the episode, I kept thinking to myself, like, I didn't realize she had that ability, really, like to manipulate things the way she's doing and like changing things within the show. I'm like, I didn't know that was part of her power set or whatever, but like maybe it's because she's in a simulation that she can control everything and she has much power or as little power as she wants.
Yeah. Well, like I know, like in the comics, she's been pretty detrimental to a few points in the comics. Like she was one of the, like when they knocked out all the mutants, that was because of her, right? Like she basically wished away mutants, and then all of a sudden they just like all just lost their powers, or like it was crazy.
So, in saying that, you think that this is the way Marvel introduces mutants into the MCU?
Yes, I do. Yeah, and it's weird because like I have a little local nerd group of friends, and we chat about this quite a bit. And like one of the things that like I've always thought for a while was that I kind of feel like Wanda has the potential to be like a villain in the MCU, and like if like unhinged enough, like she'd have enough personal reasons to, it would make the situation way more personal because they have relationships, like her and the existing Avengers and stuff.
Right.
But I do think that like she may be the reason that either mutants are brought into it, or like what one of my friends had mentioned that I thought was a kind of a cool idea was that maybe like she erased them from everyone's mind. Like imagine like they've been there the whole time, but just no one remembers them, kind of thing. So like he's like, imagine it then flashes back to like the main Avengers scene and the X-Men are fighting next to the Avengers and all this shit, right? And it's like people are just made to forget because she made them forget, or do you know what I mean? Or
well, I think that's definitely a possibility, but I've also kind of like with the next Ant-Man and Wasp movie, I feel like there's going to be massive time manipulation within that movie, right? And with the Doctor Strange movie coming out,
which are and Spider-Man too,
right? They're all going to deal with multiverse stuff and everything like that. Where I think if they're going to bring it in, that's how they're going to do it. Is there's been another universe where the X-Men have existed the whole time. And then these different universes are going to merge into one thing.
Yes.
But I mean, how do you introduce Magneto with World War II stuff into present day? Like World War II is so far back now.
I agree.
That whole origin story doesn't really work in 2021, right? Like,
not really. I really hope that they don't go that route. To be honest, I the last thing I want is a bunch of origin stories. Like I feel like they did a great job with Spider-Man Homecoming in that it felt fresh, considering the fact that it was the seventh Spider-Man movie or sixth Spider-Man movie or whatever.
Right.
Like I felt like they did a good job at making it feel like I haven't already seen this shit over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we've had, 13 X-Men movies or 12 X-Men movies?
Yeah, or something like that.
We don't need another origin story of how, Wolverine's made or how, Magneto started off or anything like that. Like, I think we're far beyond that point where not necessarily need that origin story, but how do you get them from point A to point B and have it make sense? And time travel seems to be the most normal thing of like, we're taking powerful people from other times and bringing them into the present day kind of thing.
Yeah. I have to say though that like, I don't worry because I trust that they know what they're doing. Like, especially like, it's funny because like, I always kind of treated the MCU, it's like they kind of started kind of like Fox where it was more grounded. And then by the time they got to like Avengers 2, it was kind of starting to get like maybe a bit more less grounded in reality. You know, something could show up and people wouldn't really question it anymore. Whereas like, you know, the beginning, they were like, well, that's not really realistic. It's like, dude, you're watching a Thor movie. Like, this isn't like your neighbor, right? Like,
this isn't Saving Private Ryan. Let's
yeah. So it's like, I feel like now that they're at the point where like they could literally do anything and no one's going to bat an eye. Like, no one's going to be like, well, that doesn't make any sense, or how is that even possible? Like, we're so far past that now,
we have a talking raccoon in a tree. I mean, realism has gone out the window. We're accepting these universes as they are.
But but that's what I'm saying is I feel like they're finally being able to use that to their advantage in their storytelling. Like, you know, because they plan so far out in advance, right? So it's like they had to hit a point where like they realized like we can do whatever at this point. Like, we can do what we want to do, and like maybe it's not going to be a hit for whatever, but like, you know, at this point we can stop worrying about it being so grounded. Like, I guess is what I'm saying, right? And it's like I feel like we're going to get into the point where this next phase is going to really feel like these things are just comic books come to life. I feel like they're setting it up where it's like it's not one overlaying bad guy. It's not like, I do think we're going to have one big threat somewhere down the road, but I don't feel like it's going to, like, I feel like they're going to really start splintering it off where it's like anyone could show up anywhere. You know what I mean? Kang could just be a bad guy in the universe, and it doesn't mean that he's Ant-Man's bad guy. It means he's Ant-Man's for now, and next week maybe he's Spider-Man's, and next week maybe he's Miss Marvel's, and you know what I mean? Like, and I think that really reminds me of a comic book where it's like everyone's interchangeable, anyone can go anywhere, and it doesn't really feel out of place. And you've got this giant universe to play in, and all these different characters. Right. It can make for some like insanely cool stories.
I agree, and like I think them saying that, like they were saying that Charlie Cox may reprise Daredevil in Spider-Man, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want.
Yep.
Is like, you have built these characters already. You don't need to redo them. You don't need to. I
agree.
You know,
especially because they were good. Like,
yeah. Well, I think especially Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Like, I love Jessica Jones.
I know you do. Yeah, I can take her or leave her, but I also don't really care for the character. But she's fine.
I mean, I'm not familiar with her out of the comics really that much. But
I know.
I mean, I love Kristen Ritter. I loved her in Breaking Bad, and like, she had another short-lived show on like NBC or something back in the day that was actually really funny. And yeah, like, I think she fits the character perfectly. I think she plays it really well, and I love the 3 seasons of that show. So if she can get into the MCU somehow, I think that's awesome. And same with Daredevil. Like, I want Punisher too. Like,
me too. I take Punisher too. I feel like, especially with everything that's going on in the States right now, Punisher ain't coming, I don't think.
No, and I'm not saying like it needs to be tomorrow, but
no, I know, but I'm just saying that, like, I think it could be a while before we see a big push for Punisher, right?
But the fact that, like, they just recently said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that
Deadpool's going to be rated R.
Deadpool's going to be rated R, and I'm like, this is exactly what I want.
Yeah,
you can have. And same with what you were saying about some of these Disney Plus shows may not be for you, or you might not like them.
Yeah,
not everything has to be for everybody.
That's right.
And there can be an animated show that maybe doesn't gel with me personally, because I'm not really huge into the animation shit.
Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, I won't watch it. But it's
this is the one, guys. This is the one.
Sorry, I can't. Make that shit real, and I'll watch it. Make it live action. I'll watch it. Don't give me 30 episodes of a season. I can't do it, man.
I know, it's hard. I agree. It's daunting.
6 episode seasons, 10 episode seasons.
I like those.
Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, like, I think some of these Disney Plus shows, like that What If show, I don't think that sounds interesting at all. But you might, and that's cool.
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah. I'll probably watch all the MCU stuff. I'll at least give it a chance. But the thing is like what I did with the Netflix stuff, I won't be doing with this stuff. There's too much stuff to come out to force myself to like. If I don't like it, I'm just not going to watch it. Right? Because like that was like Iron Fist, right? Like I remember watching all the Netflix ones, and it's like I loved Daredevil. Jessica Jones was like okay, I didn't love it, but it was like it hit me enough, you know. And then Luke Cage like really slowed down. I felt like there was like 5 episodes of filler in that, and I was just like, oh, that's way too much.
I love like the first 4 episodes of Luke Cage.
Me too. And then they killed Cottonmouth. I know.
They killed Cottonmouth. I'm like, I don't know what they do with the rest of the season.
I know.
It went nowhere.
I know.
And then same with Iron Fist is I watched like, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes of it. And I was like, this is terrible.
It was funny because Iron Fist was the only one that's like I literally got to episode 11 or the second last episode and stopped watching it. And I'm like, you know what? You forced yourself to this point. Just finish it. But it's like I had to make myself finish it. That's how bad it was. Season 2 was a redeemer. Like it was way better. But like,
oh really? I never watched it.
Season 2 was a lot of fun. It was really good. But I didn't. But season 1, and I didn't like the Defenders either. It was very lackluster for what it should have been.
It should have been 4 episodes. And the fact that it was like 12, it was like there is so much filler in this. There is no reason for it.
I think it was like 8. I think there was 8, but still 4 too many.
Yeah. There was half filler.
It's like one whole episode of just hand ninjas jumping down like a shaft. Like it's
why? And like I'm a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer like fan, right? Like I'm rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer right now, and that show has so much filler that it's unbelievable. But it's fun. It's a fun show where even the filler episodes, I'm like, whatever. This is just a fun episode of dumb stuff. That show, it was the filler episodes weren't even fun. They were just like,
why? Super boring. I agree.
Yeah.
I found myself saying, are we still doing this all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
So I really hope that we don't get to that with this show. But I did have a couple of things that I kind of caught. So one of the things that I wondered about the Beekeeper, do you have any thoughts on the Beekeeper?
I don't know what it could possibly be, but I did realize that on his back of its jacket had this insignia before. And that's like all over the episodes is like on that helicopter she found in their bush, that red helicopter. Had the sword logo on it. So
they're teasing that to be sword, which is like I think it's basically shield, like right? Shield, but like in space. I think is the idea.
Okay, so that's clearly what they're setting up because even when they zoomed out at the end of the first episode, into that like office that's clearly watching this simulation of some sort, they had like a file folder on the desk that had the shield insignia on it too.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so clearly
I saw it on the Beekeeper and I saw it on the helicopter as well.
Yeah, so there was a monitor they were watching, and it had the sword thing, and then he pushes a file folder up, and
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so like there's sword logos all over the place. So I don't know if that's the people that are simulating this and keeping tabs on her, or if they're just keeping tabs on her to see if she goes out of control.
So I'm wondering if so another one of like the kind of like organizations in the comics is AIM, and their henchmen have these like yellow get-ups with like these like beekeeper style helmets. So it doesn't look like what we saw, but I'm wondering if maybe like AIM would somehow tie in. So now even thinking about your thought about like maybe someone's kind of holding her back or like putting her in a state where like, do you know what I mean? Like she can't escape from. So now I wonder because I know that they've been talking about introducing AIM into the MCU for a bit too. So maybe I don't know. Maybe like they don't look like beekeepers, but I know that like they've kind of earned that nickname of like the beekeeper henchmen because they wear all yellow and it's like a yellow with like
a helmet of some sort.
Yeah, it's not really like kind of looks like a mesh helmet kind of thing.
But there was like that part too, and I think it was the second episode where on the radio she's messing with the radio. And you hear, who's doing this to you, Wanda?
Yes. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I mean, this is just me. It sounded like Bruce Banner to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know if it was. Like, I don't know who it was supposed to be. They don't really answer that. I'm sure we will find out in later episodes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's the little beekeeper guy. That's the AIM guy.
Yeah, it looks similar, or at least, like, could be, for sure.
I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool.
So, like, clearly somebody is trying to get a hold of her in this simulation to get her out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It sounds like someone's trying to get in touch with her. Like,
yeah.
So you keep hearing them say, like, "Who's doing this to you?" or "Where are you?"
Yeah, it happened again at the end of the episode when they zoomed out. It was like, "Who's doing this to you, Wanda?" And I don't know. It sounded like Bruce to me, but it could have been, who knows, Doctor Strange. It could have been anybody. It was a male voice. That's all I know. But I found that really interesting too. But the episode as a like itself, without all the like weird stuff going on, I mean, it's bizarre that they would do, Bewitched and all these like random 60s, 70s shows, whatever. I'm curious if that continues now that it faded into color at the end of that second episode.
Yeah, like if it that's what I was wondering too. I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't stay in that style. Like I hope that they now use that to explain what the fuck's going on. Like you can still zip in and out of it, but
or do they make it like a more modern sitcom? Like do they make it like Family Matters in 1989 or something like weird like that, right?
Imagine there's like a Steve Urkel type. Imagine.
That's what I'm saying. Like something really bizarre like that, where it's like, or Full House or something. Like she starts popping out these kids, and then they're like running a family of inside this house or something.
So let's talk about those kids for a few here. So again, I don't know how much you know about like her history in the comics and stuff, but like,
well, I know like she's supposed to be Magneto's daughter, right?
Yes, I don't know where they actually stand with that these days, because I think they like made it not the case anymore. Like back in like 2014, they basically said that they were like experiments, and then I think they like retconned that like maybe a couple years later. I can't really remember, but I know there's some weirdness around that. But basically, in the comics, which I think came like uncanon from some kind of something, I don't remember, but I think she has twins, Speed and Wiccan, who become like young Avengers.
Okay.
But I do remember hearing that both the guys who played MCU Quicksilver, Aaron Taylor Johnson, is that his name?
Yeah.
And the guy who played Quicksilver in the Fox movies,
right?
I can't remember his name.
Aaron.
Is it Aaron too?
I don't know.
Me neither. That other guy. But
the other guy
they're both supposed to be way better. Yeah,
really.
But apparently both are in this. I don't know if they're both as Quicksilver. I would guess that Aaron Taylor Johnson would be, but what I wondered if maybe what's his name would play Speed, like one of her twins.
Yeah, I mean that would be definitely interesting. Like I said, I'm not familiar with like that aspect of the storyline or anything, but I mean, the fact that she's in a simulation, or we assume a simulation, how do these kids end up going into the real world then?
Maybe it's a timeline. Maybe it's not a simulation.
That could be it too.
Because I know they've talked about doing a Young Avengers. I think that was one of the things they're putting in.
That's one of the rumors.
Yeah.
That they're setting up Young Avengers with all these new Avengers coming in and everything like that.
Yeah.
Them kind of sunsetting all the older,
Yep.
Captain.
And then, because, they got like Miss Marvel coming, and they got like Riri, like Ironheart, right? So Evan Peters, somebody just said Evan Peters. Thank you. That's who it is.
Yeah. Why I couldn't think of that, I don't know. But yeah. I mean, I liked Quicksilver in the X-Men movies. I thought the version in Age of Ultron was awful.
Yeah, I did too. He was a waste.
Like he did nothing in the episode or in that movie, and like then got killed off at the end. I'm like, well, why'd you even bother?
I agree. I said to Kate tonight when we were watching, I was like, if he comes back, I said, I wonder if he'll have his accent. Imagine he's like, where's your accent? And she's like, oh, it's gone. That's gone. I just fucked out. It's like, I'm here now, bitch.
Yeah. They just completely removed that from anything.
That was another weird thing. Kate's like, so that accent's just gone, eh? I'm like, just gone, just like that. Yeah. But again, maybe it's just in that. Imagine then she gets out of the simulation, and then she's like, oh, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be bizarre. Her ideal version of herself is like this American woman, but I mean, okay.
From the 60s.
Yeah, from the 60s in a white picket fence, normal.
With a rose garden.
Yeah, I mean it's bizarre, but I could see that as being her backstory too. Is like she's being tested.
It works for both of them. Like they're both so charming in the roles.
It does, and like if she's being held against her will, like as she's growing up, you know, being tested on and everything like that, and maybe this was like the show they showed her while she was in captivity.
Maybe.
Like her ideal vision of herself would be like, oh, I want to be an American woman with a family in this white picket fence normal household, and that's what she's projecting into her reality. Is, you know, now that Vision's dead, this is her ideal version of her life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. I wish the episodes were longer. I hate these 30-minute episodes. I wish they were like 50 minutes to an hour episodes.
I'm not going to lie. Those ones were 30 minutes that were pretty challenging for me to get through, to be honest. But if more starts happening, I'd be happier with longer episodes. But if they're going to keep it at the pace it's at, 30 works.
Okay, so where do you think this is heading?
Honestly, I think it could go anywhere. That's the weirdest part about it is like there's so many avenues they could go down. And they're not going to go down the obvious choice. They never do. So like...
So this is my theory.
Okay.
So like the next episode or two, things are going to start like really glitching out where like you're going to see breaks in the reality of what's going on. But when during the first episode, they did that like fake commercial for that Stark toaster.
Second one too, they did a Strucker watch. Right.
And during that toaster commercial, it was just really bizarre the way they hung on certain shots. Like they set the toast into the toaster and then hit like the start button on the toaster or whatever, and it like did this like beeping noise. Yeah. And then like both the like models in the commercial that are supposed to be like selling this product kind of just stared at the toaster like very bizarrely. And to me that was like, oh, they're hinting at how to break the simulation somehow. Like something's going on where like they have to figure a way out of this, and something within this, like the watch maybe is it, the toaster maybe is it, something within it is going to be the way to get out of this sim.
So I kind of wonder if the girl from the second episode who comes out of the disappearing box there, the black girl, I don't know the actor's name.
I don't know either.
But she originally, I was to understand, she was cast as to be Monica Rambeau, who was the daughter of Captain Marvel's friend from the Captain Marvel movie, which is set way back. So that's her grown up, apparently. But she doesn't play that person in that episode. She plays somebody different, a different name.
But is she pretending to play somebody different?
That's what I was just going to say, is she must be part of that simulation as well, right? She even says a couple of times where she said, what did she say? She says... she said, like, I think Wanda says, like, oh, I'm a mess, or I made a mess or something, or I made a something. And then she's like, oh, yeah, you're known for that, or you do that, or something like that. And I was just like kind of insinuated that, like, she maybe had some history with her or something. Or But yeah.
I mean, there's parts that made me laugh, too. Like,
Me too.
Yeah, like, when they're doing the magic show on the stage.
When Vision's drunk?
Well, Vision's like drunk / has gum in his gears or whatever dumb thing they were trying to do. But like when he was like picking up the piano to show how light it was.
That's my grandma's piano.
That's my grandma's piano. I started cracking up because I was like, that is brilliant. Like it was just so dry and like random that I was like, oh, this is good. Like I think there's definitely room for them to expand into like very comedic set pieces where. I mean, yeah, it's the first 2 episodes of a show. Watch 90% of television, the first 2 episodes of a show are like, that was okay. Let's see where this goes. Like, you know, they're just setting everything up and it's preparing you for what's to come. Even like, you know, Lost. Lost has 2 of the first best episodes ever as a show, but it was setting everything up and it was showing you where it was going to go. And like, I think that's what it's doing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
I think by the end of the show, like I think by like episode 6 or 7, this is going to be a very dark, like them trying to break the simulation to escape, like all the like the people within the simulation like turning on them and trying like becoming like bad guys and them trying to like break out and everything like that. Like I think it's going to be very dark.
Oh no, Agnes, she can't turn bad.
Well, even Dottie, like
Dottie, yeah, totally.
She's from the actress is from Buffy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she plays Anya in Buffy. So as I'm rewatching Buffy right now, I'm like, oh my god, it's Anya, and she's a completely different person. And it's like super weird, but yeah,
I think Kate likes Buffy.
Yeah, it's very weird.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think all these like simulation people are going to turn on them, and they're going to have to fight them off to escape.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. It makes me wonder, like, if this has the potential to, like, I mean, it does have the potential to, but like, will it, like, do like a status quo change or something in the MCU? Like, will it do something that will it end like insane, or will it end crazy? Because like, it could very well, right? There's so many things that they could do. Like,
I think it will end in a way to set up her role in the Doctor Strange movie.
Well, didn't they say that this was kind of like a 1 of 3-part story arc for her? I think it goes like her, because it's this and Strange and Spider-Man, right?
Right. So I think this is going to lead into Doctor Strange, but I think, like, obviously the next series is Falcon and
Winter Soldier.
Whatever the heck they call it. Obviously, I think that's going to set up something else within the MCU. Like, I don't think WandaVision and Falcon are going to have anything to do with each other.
But I don't think so either. No, I don't think so either.
I think Falcon's going to set up another part of, like, if Wanda's a part of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, then maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier is part of, whatever. I can't even think of anything else that would
make sense. I know it would make sense. Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or something. I don't know. Like, or Thor.
It seems like Thor and Guardians are going to be kind of bundled together a little to a certain degree. Because, Star-Lord's back for that too now, right? So it's like Rocket and Groot and Star-Lord. No Drax, no Gamora, no Mantis, but...
Yeah. But, I mean, I wrote down a bunch of questions that I had, that, like, I don't know what your thoughts are, but, like, do you think after Spider-Man 3 we will get another Spider-Man movie in the MCU, or do you think that Sony's going to take it back?
No, I don't think so. I feel like Fox and Sony seem to be patching things up kind of right now, so I feel like you're going to start getting more Marvel influence even on the the Sony properties. Like, I feel like
Venom's coming out in like July, maybe.
Yeah, and Morbius is supposed to come out next year, or end of this year. October, yeah.
It was supposed to come out in March. They just delayed it.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I think that movie's gonna be really bad.
I do too.
I don't see how you can make a Morbius movie. I think Jared Leto is not a very good person for that role.
I'll agree. I'm just not a Jared Leto fan, so that's a pretty biased statement to say it. So I'm just
outside of Fight Club, I don't like anything he's done. So
yeah.
But yeah, like I think if they tie like Kingpin into the Spider-Man movie
it'd be amazing.
From Daredevil and like in Daredevil's in it and all this stuff, then I think there has to be a Spider-Man 4. But I also feel like they could be trying to get all their eggs out of the basket right now with like all the other Spider-Men being in the movie, all the villains being in the movie, like, and then Sony saying, okay, that's the end of him being in MCU. Now we want to do our own Sonyverse Spider-Man thing where like Spider-Man 4 has Venom in it and they all tie in.
I think Sony knows that without... The problem is like they just don't have the caliber of the team to do the job right. And I feel like Sony realizes that. Like,
yeah.
I feel like they need each other more than they think they do.
I agree with you.
And like, I mean, to me, like I feel like they casted Tom Young so they could keep him for a long time. So I feel like they're going to want to, because the thing is like, how cool would it be? It'd be the first time that we saw Spider-Man go past the third movie. How cool would it be to see him start as a teenager in high school and have him eventually be fighting as an adult? Like,
I agree.
And it's the same, like, how fucking cool would that be?
Well, just setting up the college years and like, whatever that becomes. I don't know if they're going to introduce Gwen Stacy in any way or whatever, but I mean, they've already clearly changed the whole MJ thing, so
yeah. I'm at the point where I'm past worried about like if things are comic accurate. I still hear a lot of people. I know you are, but like I hear that a lot where people are like, "Oh, it's not like that in the books." And it's like, dude, if you went and saw Endgame and you knew what happened, how great would that movie have been? Like, I know it'd still be cool to see it, but like if you walked in and you knew that movie from back to front, it would take away all the fun of it. But
then on the other hand, I'm like the X-Men guy that's like, God, I would love if they did Dark Phoenix right.
I hope they don't, but yes. I mean, I would love them to redeem it.
That makes sense.
The thing is we're going to have too much of the same at that point, right? Like with Fantastic Four, there's no way that we're not going to get some sort of introduction in space. It may not be an origin story, but there's no way that we're not going to see those guys in space in some capacity.
Oh, the Space Jammers have to be a part of it.
Oh, you're talking, yeah. We may go there, but to be honest with you, man, I don't think they're going to do it right away. I think it'll take some time. So,
well, I don't think it's going to be this phase, like an X-Men movie. Like they obviously haven't announced it or anything, but like I don't think they're trying to surprise us with like, hey, by the way, X-Men, whatever they're going to call it, comes out 2022, the end of 2020, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think it will be phase 5. We'll get an X-Men movie, but I think that you're going to see in one of these movies, there's going to be like one of those end credit stingers setting up somebody.
Yep. I think they're going to just slowly start introducing. I don't think it's going to be like, and here's the X-Men. I think once mutants are established, they're going to just slowly start. Maybe Storm's in Black Panther. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe we just start seeing random, it's not like and then the ensemble thing comes after like it did with the Avengers, right? I'm fine either way. Honestly, like, again, until the MCU gives me a reason to think otherwise, I'm going to trust it in their hands because, like, they basically made me a lover of, like, some of these characters that, like, I didn't really like. I've always been an X-Men fan. I've always been a Spider-Man fan. I've never been an Avengers fan ever. But it's like now, it's like I love Iron Man. I love Captain America. I love Thor. Never thought I'd fucking say that. But
no, nobody did. Thor fans didn't even know they loved Thor. They were like, "Oh, he's all right, yeah." But you guys are big hero. That's cool.
But it's like they've done such a good job at opening up me up to those characters, right? And it's just they've handled them so well, and it's just I don't have. Yeah, I'm not saying that I think every MCU movie is the best movie ever, but like I would say that I know that we don't agree with this on this, but like I would say that like as a whole, I would say that there's probably only a couple stinkers in the bunch. Like really, like everything else, like I can get through. Yeah,
3 or 4 of them are bad.
Yeah, I'd say probably 3. Yeah,
like I think the first Thor movie, Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 is worse to me though.
See, I liked Iron Man 3.
Oh, see, I don't like Iron Man 3.
But the first Thor movie and Iron Man 2, I think, are the worst 2 movies probably in the entire.
Oh, that's so funny. I think the second Thor movie and Iron Man 3 are probably the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that the Thor 2 is like good.
It's not.
It's not awful, but it's not like, oh wow, I want to watch this movie every week. Like it was fine. I mean, I'm one of the people that I didn't think Black Panther knocked it out of the park by any stretch.
Yeah. I liked Black Panther visually, but like to me, I didn't understand, like it had been done before from a story standpoint. I understand the significance of an all black cast and I understand the significance of
that's
that.
Great.
Just I
was actually excited for it because of that.
The story is where, like, to me, I was like, well, that was also Captain America and Iron Man. Like, it's the same thing. It's like it's Captain Marvel too, right? It's just the same story. It's always the same story. And again, you're talking to like somebody who loves the MCU, right? I don't shit on it, but I mean, I do have my beefs about it, but it's, yeah.
To me, the biggest problem with Black Panther was they didn't know whether they wanted to tell a Black Panther story or they wanted to show off Wakanda.
Yeah.
And that's where the story lost me. It was because they kept focusing on Wakanda, but I felt like there was zero character development on who Black Panther was. And that was the part that, like, I was interested in. Is I didn't know much about Black Panther, but I thought when he showed up in Civil War, I was like, oh, this character's cool. Like, I can't wait for this movie. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, I didn't like that at all. Like, I don't even know what's really going on in this world. Like, other than it's hidden from the world and, you know, you have to wear the suit and whatever. But, like, it didn't really tell me anything about the character. And I thought the villain was the most exciting part of that movie.
Yeah, I liked Killmonger a lot. He was really good. Yeah. I was super bummed when they killed him at the end.
Same. I was like, this is the best part of this movie, and you killed it off. Like, that's a bummer. It's like episode 1 of Star Wars when they killed Darth Maul. You know, I'm like, Darth Maul was the best part of this movie, and then
that might be one of the worst uses of a bad guy ever. Is Darth Maul is,
unless they were going to take Watto and make him.
Hey, we both know Watto is for sure the Emperor. That's how it.
Watto's my favorite character. Watto's the only good part of the prequels. Annie, I was good to your mother.
That's so funny.
All right, let me see. I got like 3 more questions for you.
All right, cool.
Do we ever get Gambit?
I hope not. I hope not. Not with Channing Tatum. I hope not. I'm sorry.
Not with Channing Tatum.
Give me a break. I don't want to see
Gambit's my favorite X-Men.
You what, sorry?
I said Gambit's my favorite X-Men.
Gambit's in my top few favorite X-Men. Yeah, it's hard to pick for me, but yeah, he's one of my favorites for sure. I'm not saying I know who to cast because I'm just not in the loop on that stuff as much. But like, honestly, with X-Men, I hope that they don't go like old people, but I hope they don't go young too. Like I hope they go somewhere in the middle where like the team's established and like is a good team already, right? Like I hope that we don't see like, hey, we're the X-Men. Oh, you guys wear fucking spandex suits, blah blah blah. Totally. We're gonna work together.
They also don't need to wear skin tight leather.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't care how it can be somewhere really. I'm at the point where like again, I'm pretty happy with the MCU costumes. I feel like they've done a really good job at like interpreting them to screen from comic. You know, especially when I look at stuff like Rocket Raccoon and Endgame, like fuck man, that's totally. Like so perfect. It's just so good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know.
What is your most anticipated movie out of Phase 4?
You know, it was hard for me to even really get into like all the announcements because when it all came out, I was like in the thick of opening that store in Kamloops. So like I just didn't have the time to sit down and like absorb like that much information.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, honestly, like I again, because I haven't really been, it's been a lull, so I haven't been as engaged with it as I normally am. I'm honestly, I'm excited for everything as they come, but like, it's weird. Like I'm not excited like I normally am. I think a lot of it is because I don't know the characters that we're getting introduced to. You know, my excitement over the last 5 years have been because I've been following a story. It's not to say that I don't think I will get into it. Like Marvel does a good job at like intriguing me. So it's like Shang-Chi, right? It's like, I don't know Shang-Chi. I never read a comic. I never had a trading card of Shang-Chi when I was a kid, which is how I got a lot of my comic knowledge. So like, I don't know him. But as soon as when they introduced the movie, I said, yeah, I'll see it because I see all of them. But like, I don't really care at this point, whatever, right? Like, but then as soon as they're like Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, and I'm just like, okay, I'm interested again because it's like now you've tied it to something else that I give a shit about, right? And it's like, so now I want to know how this is all going to go down. So I'm excited for Shang-Chi to a certain degree, but I would say like I'm not super excited for Eternals. So you can see I don't really. I'll see it, but I'm not super stoked for it. I think the things I'm excited to see how they handle the Spider-Man thing. I'm hoping that they don't bite off more than they can chew, but
that's what my worry is.
Me too. But I mean, I'm excited to see all the Spider-Mans together. I think that's a fun idea. I hope we get to see some classic looking costumes on all these villains they're putting in there because I think that would be a lot of fun. Like, how funny would it be to see Michael Keaton in like a skin tight green vulture suit? A big fucking fur thing around his neck and bald.
God willing.
Oh, I hope so. Or a big fucking star Electro mask on Jamie Foxx. Yeah. How fucking funny would that be?
I want Scorpion in an actual Scorpion suit.
Yes, that'd be great. Yeah, instead he just has a scorpion tattoo. That's what we're working with at this point. So
it's not good.
Not good.
I'm actually probably most excited for Doctor Strange.
I'm excited for Doctor Strange too. I'm excited to see what they do with the multiverse thing. My only worry is that it becomes a crutch. That's where I was going when I brought it up earlier, and how I said I'm excited that of all the opportunities it brings. But that is my only worry. Is I worry that you could use that multiverse to like get out of a lot of like story loopholes, or
they're gonna have to.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
but it just sucks because like I just don't want it to get to the point where you're like, oh, let me guess, they're gonna explain it away with a loophole from the multiverse. Right. Like that's what I worry about. As long as they don't get into that habit, which again I trust that they know what they're doing, but I do worry about that.
Do you think we'll get Black Widow in May, or do you think we'll see another delay because of COVID?
I think if we get another delay, it will go to Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I feel like there's something in that movie that is going to forward something else, and I feel like they can't delay it anymore.
I think now that they have started, I don't think they can push anything.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to start with 2 Disney Plus shows or 3 Disney Plus shows, whatever it ends up being, and then have like a 6-month gap between the next thing.
Yeah.
As if starting this
your audio went weird, Ryan. Did your... I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's my earphone.
Okay.
I can hear you. It's just kind of tinny.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the internet.
Oh yeah, that could be it. I'm using my data because my Wi-Fi sucks.
My Wi-Fi is good.
So you're good. It's good. It must have just been my earphone.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think we'll get Black Widow in May, but I don't think it's going to theaters. I think it will be Disney Plus.
I do too. Yeah, I do too.
Which is a bummer because I'm actually interested to see where they do with that movie. But I think the problem is if they charge $30 for it.
Yeah.
But I'll pay it because I want to see the MCU movies. Yep. But I think $30 is way too much for a rental.
See, this is all I'll say on that, and I know that I'm weird. I'm one of the weird. I'm definitely not the norm here, and that is usually when an MCU movie comes out, I see it on the Thursday night, and I see it again on the Monday night after. I almost always do in theater. So to me, if I only have to pay $30 and I can watch it as many times as I want in the first 48 hours, I'll get my money's worth out of it because that's what I always do. So I always see it multiple times.
I mean, my argument is I understand what they're going for is they assume, okay, you're probably a couple that's watching this movie. We'll charge you $15 per person type thing. It's the same as if you went on a date night and took your significant other to the movie or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. I
get that aspect. I live alone. This isn't the same as going to a movie. I mean, I have a nice TV. I have a nice surround sound system. It's just not the same.
No, I agree.
I have a 75-inch TV and it's not the same. Sorry, but I'd rather have the IMAX screen. So to pay $30 for it, I think is a bit much. If you could pay $30 and get a copy of the movie to keep when it came out, like for release, I'd be in.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna end up buying the Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray, whatever, when it comes out. So spending $30 on a rental and then spending another $30 to get the copy, it's absurd to spend $60 on a movie.
Yeah, I get you for sure.
So,
yeah, I guess that's another thing we can always talk about too is like even just like what happens with theaters, right? It's a lot like a restaurant where it's like if your seats aren't full, you're not making the money you need to make to like stay afloat, right? Like it's expensive to operate a theater. It's expensive.
Think of how expensive these movies are, right? Like, I mean, Endgame cost them something like $350 million to make.
It's crazy, eh?
If you're not open in the States and Canada and, whatever, China, wherever else that they're making the most of their money at, how do you redeem what you spent on these movies? Like, you're not going to get that back charging $30 a pop on Disney Plus.
I agree. It makes me kind of wonder too, because a lot of the release schedule is based on the U.S. market, and with the U.S. being as bad as it is with COVID, makes me wonder do you think that the U.S. will get skipped on releases? Where if we're a year from now and they're still in a shithole spot where they are right now, right, with COVID, it's going to take them a long time to get out of that, right? So what happens if they're still not out of that? Do these movies start getting delayed, or does the States just miss out? You know what I mean? Like,
I think they'll do what HBO is doing with HBO, whatever it's called, Max or whatever. Yeah, I think it'll be the same thing there. As if you're subscribed, you may have to spend money, but I think they'll say, hey, if your area is clear and theaters are open,
it's there.
You're more than welcome to go see theaters, but it's going to be on Disney Plus. You're welcome to watch it there for $20, $2 free, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do anything. I can't see them delaying it in their biggest market. So
yeah,
I'm hoping that with the vaccine now starting to trickle out in places, that 6 months from now we're not in the spot that we are, where May may be bad still, and Black Widow may suffer because of that. But I'm hoping by Spider-Man 3 or whatever, by the end of the year that we're good to go.
Do you know what we're getting this year? It's 4 movies this year, isn't it?
We're getting Black Widow in May, Shang-Chi in, I think, July, Eternals in November, and Spider-Man 3 in December.
Whew.
Yeah.
Insane.
Plus, we're getting Captain Falcon and Captain's, or
Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm always going to mess that name up because it's a terrible name. We're getting Loki.
Oh, that's right. May?
I think that What If show.
Yeah, What If's August, I think, right?
I think it's August, and then I think we may get one more in like November or December, one of the other ones. It ended up being like, I want to say it was like eight a year that we were getting between the TV shows and the movies.
That's insane.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous.
Isn't it crazy that we're here, that we're at this point?
Yeah, and next year is even like crazier. We're getting Doctor Strange, Thor, Black Panther 2, and Captain Marvel 2, I think, all next year.
Ooh.
And plus like 4 or 5 shows. Like, again, it's going to be the same thing where something's going to come out every week. And then on top of that, we're going to get all these new Star Wars shows.
Yeah, we are. I can't wait for the Star Wars stuff.
I just don't know how they're going to juggle it all. Like, that's a lot of content.
I mean, you got to think they've had the time to get it in order. We've literally gone a year with no new content.
Yes, true. I mean, when we got Disney Plus in 2019
November?
or whatever it was when it came out, I remember I was like, oh, at least I'll have the Mandalorian and all these Marvel Plus shows or Marvel shows to watch on Disney Plus. And then everything got delayed, and I was like, there is nothing to watch on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Like, it sat vacant for me for probably 8 months of that year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I've watched a few things on it, but
same here.
I'm just not really into the anime stuff. So, like, a lot of these Disney and Pixar movies,
it doesn't do it right for you.
It just doesn't do it for me. I've skipped them all.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and they're like, oh, did you watch that Soul movie? And I was like, I haven't watched a Pixar movie, I don't think, since Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Like, we're going back, like, almost 10 years now, where, like, I've missed all these movies.
Some goodies in there. Yeah. Yeah, but if they don't do it for you, they don't do it for you, right?
I mean, I like the Toy Story movies. I didn't even see Toy Story 4 because everybody's like, oh, it's super sad, you're going to cry.
It's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just not going to... I just don't want to watch something that's going to make me cry.
I'm not going to lie. I actually think 3 was sadder, but 4 was pretty sad too. But it was so well done though. But it was still pretty sad though.
Maybe one night I'll have like the...
Feel like having a good cry. You can watch it.
Yeah,
but ball.
When I watch a movie, I want to have fun and I want to enjoy my time with it, and it's just, I don't want to sit there and cry.
I don't know about you, but like, I find myself way more fucking sensitive about like sad shit in movies now. Like,
absolutely.
Like as I get older, like I find it's just like sometimes I just can't even control it. Like, it's
oh yeah,
it's like
it's
weird. Like I remember when we were watching Mandalorian, like this is spoilers for Mandalorian season 2 if anyone hasn't seen it, but like. Like I watched the last episode with Kate, right? And when the door opens and it pans up to Luke Skywalker, she looks over at me and I'm just like, I almost have tears in my eyes, right? And she's just like, you are such a nerd. Like,
oh yeah. But if even when I got my new TV, right? I finally bought a brand new TV. I just moved into a new house. I wanted a nice new TV, so I bought a 75-inch Sony TV for PS5 and everything like that. And I sat down and I put on Endgame, and I was just like, I just want to see how it looks on my new TV and hear the sound and everything like that.
Is that amazing?
And like, yeah, and that end scene with like and fighting that end scene and Captain America picking up Thor's hammer and all that stuff, I just started bawling again, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like,
I cried when he said Avengers Assemble.
Dude, I started bawling in the theater when that happened. And everybody around me is looking at me. I'm like, I'm sorry. I've waited for this my entire life.
A long time, yeah.
Like, this is what I wanted to see in a live-action comic book movie my entire life. And I finally get to see it, and I'm going to bawl. It's just the way it is.
It's so good. Fuck this.
Yeah, dude. I love it. I can't wait. I'm as much as you may not have liked these first 2 episodes, Phase 4 is going to be awesome. I just have a feeling.
I know that a lot of my dislike comes from my disconnection with the MCU right now. Like, it's been a long time to not have content, especially when you think that we've had content pretty much nonstop for 10 years. Yeah. You know, a couple movies or 2 or 3 movies a year, plus comics and, you know, all that other shit, right? So,
on the other hand, most of what we've gotten is good. When you look at, like, and I'm not trying to offend anybody that's a huge DC fan here, but you know, the DC movies have not been very good.
Terrible.
I watched Wonder Woman 1984 like last week. It's not good.
I wouldn't say it's terrible. I actually shouldn't say anything because I really have only seen a few DC movies, but I'll just shit talk them all the time. Don't worry about it.
Out of like the 10 movies that they've released or whatever they're at right now, I'd say maybe 2 are worth watching, and the other ones I would completely skip.
Yeah.
So, and then you flip over to Marvel, and they're 23 movies in, and I'd say 18, 17 of them are like
must-sees.
Fairly good. Excellent.
Yeah.
So I'd say we're at a good clip, and I trust them enough to put out good content at this point. So
me too. That's where I'm at ultimately. Is like I feel like I trust them that they can do the job. So I'm not as worried about it because I trust that they're going to be able to execute.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, but I guess time will tell. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see how they juggle, especially if they start going into different directions genre-wise. It'll be interesting to see how they juggle all of those things.
Well, I think the more interesting part too is how they're going to balance the rated R movies.
Yeah.
Is if these all tie in together like the last 3 phases of this of the universe, how are they going to tie in Deadpool when, anybody under the age of 18 technically can't see these movies? Like,
yeah, I think the thing is that people always find a way, though, and I think,
But do you want your 6-year-old watching Deadpool?
Yeah, but they could also probably do a PG-13 because the thing is though, even though they'll probably do R-rated, like they may still tone it down a little bit, right? In violence and stuff, like it may still be fucking dirty as hell, but like they may tone down the blood. Like Blade, right? What's that?
They're supposed to make that Blade movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you do a Blade movie that's not rated R?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it has to be violent.
He literally is a vampire killer. That's his
right. Yeah. So like, don't give me a trickle down version of Blade because I want a badass Blade movie.
Yeah.
Like I know the original trilogy isn't great, but that first Blade movie I actually really like.
Yeah, first Blade movie's good.
And the second one's okay. The third one's awful. But,
first one's the only.
I want a badass Blade movie. I would love to see like eventually maybe. Blade being a part of something bigger. And like, I just don't know how you tie that character into something that's as, quirky as Guardians of the Galaxy and then take,
how do you take something like Blade and put it next to Rocket Raccoon?
Exactly. Like the tones are so different.
Yeah.
And the adult and children version of those movies just don't coalesce into something that I feel like they can really put out.
Yep. I agree with that.
But, I mean, same as like we said, Punisher, if they bring Punisher back, how do you bring Punisher into this world?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I don't think we'll see much of Punisher for the next little while. So I think after last week's situation, I feel like it'll be a while before we see a guy shooting his way for justice. I feel like it's...
But what happens if they put him in a movie, say Avengers 5, whatever they're fighting, whatever the thing ends up being, this guy shows up in a skull shirt, whatever, and he's just on a turret gun as a small cameo, shooting down some villains or whatever the case may be. Like, they don't have to make it a standalone movie, and they don't have to make it uber violent where he's killing humans. Sure. He could be shooting down aliens. He could be shooting down whatever. And, you don't have to have the high violence level, but you can have the character as a cool little, Easter egg in some movie or whatever. He can still exist.
I think we'll have a better chance of seeing Frank Castle come back as Cosmic Ghost Rider, because I think that was a pretty hot button in the comics this year or last year. And he's like this really cool looking Ghost Rider that's like in space. He has this hover bike thing. It's fucking cool. He's super cool looking. He's like a mix of like Punisher and Ghost Rider. He's like an armored Ghost Rider with like a Punisher skull on his chest and flaming bike. It's cool, dude. It's pretty cool.
I mean, I completely forgot about Ghost Rider, so that tells you how much those Ghost Rider movies stuck with me.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of those. Imagine Nicolas Cage came back. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm back.
Let's get him.
Let's do it."
He'll do it for a ham sandwich and a bag of pepperoni.
That's too funny. Well, I don't know. I think that the MCU is going to have a lot of cool shit coming our way, but I just, I need to get back into the groove of it. But thankfully, the good thing is it sounds like they're going to make it easy for us to get back into the groove of it with so much content coming. You got to go from nothing to like overload in 1 year, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you really wanted to like really dive deep into it, you still have a decent amount of time before May to like start rewatching some of the films that you really enjoy. I mean, you can skip the ones that obviously aren't as good, but 15 movies in 3-4 months isn't that hard to knock out real quick if you want to jump back in. So
yeah, I kind of pick and choose. Like every once in a while, I'll do a run through, but like. I have my ones I revisit pretty consistently, right? Like I love Thor Ragnarok. I love Civil War.
Guardians.
Any of the Avengers, honestly. Even Ultron. I know it's not as good, but like I'll take Guardians 1. Me too. I love Guardians 1.
And Winter Soldier, I think, is probably like in my top 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah, I like Winter Soldier a lot too.
I wasn't as huge as on Civil War. I thought Civil War was meh, but
yeah, I liked Civil War because I liked the gimmick of it. Like I liked that the heroes fought each other. Thought that was fun.
I liked the idea of it. I just thought it wasn't a very good movie overall. But I know I'm in the minority on that, and I can accept that. But
it's hard to pick favorites out of all of them, to be honest. There's a lot of good to go around, right? So.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I actually would like to rewatch Captain Marvel because I think I've only watched it once.
Yeah, I remember you not really being a fan of Captain Marvel.
I wasn't huge on it. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I did too.
I think
that was fine.
I think the character wasn't overly done well, and I think her showing up in Endgame really kind of did it disservice too.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
She just kind of showed up and could damage everything and kill everything, and I'm like, well, then why wouldn't they have called her like 5 years ago? It just didn't really work, but I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to see where we go, and I really hope that COVID comes down a bit so that we can actually see some movies in theaters again. I haven't been to the theaters in a year and a half, so it's weird.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think the last time I saw a movie was
Star Wars. I think for
That's
me,
what I think too. Star Wars,
and it was bad. So
it was bad. It was very bad.
Not a good note to end on.
Not a good. I actually blame COVID on Star Wars Episode 9, so.
Might as well.
It's all Ray's fault.
It's actually midichlorians that is COVID.
You have a high midichlorian count. Oh, why, thank you. No, actually, I mean, it's COVID-19. You're going to
die. We make light of our misery. That's how we roll it.
That's great.
All right, man. Well, do you want to end it there?
Yeah, man. I think we'll call that a night. And then, hopefully you're going to upload this tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, I want to upload this tomorrow on YouTube. And then hopefully we can do this again after episode 3. Just even if we don't have to always go for an hour. But,
just jump on and chat about what the fuck's going on.
Do a half hour or whatever and shoot and make it a regular thing.
Yeah, man. That'd be fun.
Okay,
we get to see it unfold, and then we can go back and see how right or wrong we were.
Absolutely.
Always wrong.
Always wrong, but never stop guessing.
No, I'm just kidding. Who knows? Honestly, that's the craziest thing about WandaVision, though, is like it could literally go anyway. Like there's so many things that they could do with the angles that they could play here. You know what I mean? Like.
A million different choices.
It's even weird to think it's like that when you come out of this, like Vision is still dead. Like he's still not even around. So it's like, it's weird.
Yeah, no, it is weird, and I wonder if they're going to try to figure out a way to bring Vision back in some form.
I like even if they did Gray version, but then that could be a whole other thing too. Remember how they talked about saying that if Gray Vision came back, they could do like in the comics where he was like void of any like emotion. He was like literally just like an android. Yeah. It's like imagine they did that, and then what kind of impact that would have on Wanda. Imagine it was just like a shell of him, and that was it. And
yeah, no, and that could be the thing that turns her like dark.
I would love to see a heel turn for Wanda, because I do think that could be a really fun avenue to explore.
I totally agree. I think anybody going, from good to evil, I think would make for an interesting thing. And
you can do it over time too, which is nice, right?
Yeah,
you give her a whole
seeing
show
the slow progression of her. Yeah, cool. Seeing the slow progression of her going evil would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be cool.
But yeah, I'm excited, and I anybody that hasn't watched them, I mean, I know we've spoiled the hell out of them, but
yeah, if you haven't watched them now, then
sorry that we ruined it for you, but I still think you can go and watch them.
On that note, what do you feel? How do you feel about the new Hawkeye series coming?
I think that's a waste, honestly, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
I hope they show. I hope they spend a whole episode on how he does his mohawk.
They have what's his name from Guardians with the mohawk?
Oh, Yondu.
Yondu. They have Yondu
makes an appearance. He's like, you just see him in the background. He's like, no, what you do is
exactly.
You just do this little whistle.
And it stands up all night. It's amazing. Yeah. That should be in What If. When
I'm kind of looking. He's like, I'm kind of looking for the more like just rolled out of bed, kind of depressed that everyone disappeared in my life look.
Yeah. Emo Hawkeye. It's great.
That made me laugh. It's like everyone in his family disappears, so he gets a mohawk and tattoos.
Yeah. And moves to Japan.
Whatever floats your boat, man.
I mean, I guess that's the way to go.
Well, I guess
I should have moved to Japan on that note like 10 years ago. But
that's too funny. All right, man. Well, have a good night. Thanks for chatting. And
thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk soon.
All right. Cool, man.
All right. Peace. Bye, everybody.
Okay. See ya. Thanks.